This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
You know, when you think of legendary lenses, what do you think? You usually think of the German lenses like Leica, Zeiss, like the Noctilux. Last time I did a video about Noctilux, I said the 50mm f1.0 is one of the best lenses ever. And the f1.2 Aspherical, which came before that, is like the OG. And that was the first production Aspherical lens ever. That was produced between 1966 to 1975. But during that period, Canon just casually made their own 55mm Aspherical lens. Handmade, hand-ground, and just as Leica was saying, actually, it's too difficult, in that same year, Canon managed to mass produce Aspherical lenses. Is this one right here. 55mm S.S.C Aspherical. This is a true legend, and I'm going to show you why, but I need your camera lock. Hey, let's do swap. Well, no. Oh, wow, transition, amazing. It may not be known as the first Aspherical lens ever made, but this was the lens that showed that Canon can make it consistently well. It doesn't really matter which edition you go for. You've got the AL, S.S.C AL, the S.S.C Aspherical, all the same optical formula. The AL was the handmade, hand-ground Aspherical. This one is mass-produced, so the AL will be more expensive if you buy one on eBay. This one is a bit cheaper. Still, it's not cheap, and it's just as good. In fact, this might be better because it's got multi-coating on it. Super spectra coating. Huge. But I have to say that one thing that is common across the board, apart from the optical formula, radioactive.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, my face is tingling!
So it's foliated, it's got thorium in it, which causes some of the coating, the front coating, to turn yellow or brown. This one's not too bad. This is not to be confused with the other FD Fast 50s, the L lens. This is better than the L lens. This is a great example of how Canon outdid Leica.
Not possible.
It's possible.
No.
It's true.
No.
Yes. Go find out. Anything will make anything look good. You can just take photos as grass. Look amazing. Watch out for the poo there. It's dried up, but still.
This video is shit.
Well, in many ways.
But look how this lens turns any random crap into beautiful bona fide gorgeousness.
It can make weeds look good. You know, this is how I know I'm getting old, is that I have to do this when looking at the screen. There's a bit of flaring there. It'll make wood look good.
This 8-element 6-group lens is built with a super sturdy exterior with half-stop clicks on the aperture ring. It's fairly weighty but not atrociously heavy. The short depth of the lens means even with an adapter it doesn't jut out too far from the body, which is one of my pet peeves about using adapter lenses on mirrorless. It's just an impressive feeling lens.
The build quality of this is really, it's so solid. You don't get that today because all plastic lenses. But look at it. It's just a thing of beauty. Focuses all the way down to 60 centimeters. A bit less than that, apparently. Unless mine is broken.
Don't jinx it.
So last time I was talking about the Noctilux 50mm f1.0, and I like it, I really like it, in a sort of weird, wobbly, crazy way. This one does outperform that, because it has an aspherical element, so it's well corrected for spherical aberrations. It is sharper, and in fact some say that this is better than the OG 50mm Noctilux 1.2 aspherical, which has such a legendary status. This is better. It's a Canon.
No!
Yes! Ah! There's no red dot on it. It's not possible. Went to infinity just now.
Oh, properly jinxed.
It went now. There's no filter on it. It's not that old thing again. I mean, part of me thinks, shall I just twist it as hard as possible?
Watching Kai's video, is it like watching a F1 race and waiting for it to crash?
Yeah, it's a bit of a car crash in a minute, isn't it?
What was the sound?
I don't know, but it didn't sound good, did it? Let's just focus at 1.5 meters or less.
Focusing limiter.
Nothing interesting over there anyway. Everything is close up. It's better. This is a 50-year-old lens. Let's give it a break here. 50-year-old lens, but in terms of the sharpness, as good as a modern lens. Trust me. It's fantastic.
Okay, that's something.
The Noctilux looks decent enough wide open, but this Canon renders those lines so crisply. Sharp as.
I mean, when we talk about sharpness, of course you can get sharp lenses now. There are going to be sharper lenses than this at 1.2. But it's just got that look. You can tell it's a vintage lens. You can tell it's a classic lens, but yeah, it looks so modern, if that makes sense.
It reproduces those little fine details so well.
It's at 1.5 meters or less. Oh, it's even less than 1.5 meters now. It's getting worse.
Well, it's still stuck.
Yeah, but now it doesn't even go to 1.5. It's a little bit less than 1.5 now. This should be like a photography school challenge. You can only focus on things 1.5 meters or less.
Force you to get close.
Exactly. Focus to 60 centimeters. You can't get with a Leica Noctilux unless you have one of those Voigtlander close-up adapters, but still.
I couldn't see any longitudinal chromatic aberration, although I did see some spherochromatism where the high contrast background bokeh and foreground bokeh shot with different coloured edges, just a bit.
And centre sharpness on his thing is really good. High contrast, but even in the corners as well.
None of that naughty Noctilux vignetting, surprisingly not that much light fall off actually. It has a huge amount of bite at f1.2, whereas the Noctilux has plenty of contrast. If you look closely, it doesn't do so well in those tiny little details. Lines are still a little soft edged. At f1.4 it's not as good as the Canon at f1.2. Even if you look at something modern like a Sony 50mm 1.2, there's not a huge difference in it.
Perhaps the one trade-off for having such amazing sharpness, especially for this era of lens, is the bokeh. Not so hot at all times. Check that out.
Nobody cares about the blurry bits back then.
Yeah, there were no internet people going, bokeh! Hashtag bokeh! It doesn't look too bad there, but I've got some shocking images. Shocking bokeh. Bokeh or boke? More boke than bokeh.
But maybe I'm being a bit critical. After all, I'm subconsciously comparing it to the Noctilux. The Noctilux can produce really nice creamy out of focus elements, but it can also be very average, bordering on harsh at middle distance focusing. For the majority of the close range focusing with the Canon, it produced nice looking bokeh. It should be no surprise that it can sometimes have harder looking bokeh. It's an aspherical lens.
But because it is corrected for spherical aberrations, it doesn't have that kind of wobbly, crazy, surreal looking shallow depth of field bokehness as the Noctilux 1.0. Noctilux 1.0 is that sort of dreamy look, like you've been injected in the bum with some hallucinogenic drugs or something. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you want a 10% discount on our website, easy to set up a website, lots of templates, 24/7 customer service.
If you want to set up your own website, online store, just your own domain, you can give it a try with a 14-day free trial and 10% off your first order by using this link and discount code.
As they say, they don't make them like they used to, and it's true of this. That's why this lens still commands a high price, especially now, because during the DSLR days, FD mount is shorter than Canon's mount, EOS mount, and other DSLR mounts, so you couldn't mount it to a DSLR. But when mirrorless came along, you can mount it to mirrorless. So these things have been going up in price. This is why Dan has been buying loads of FD lenses. In fact, Dan is the reason why prices of FD lenses have been going up, because he's just been stockpiling them. I wish I stockpiled them too, because I remember this was like, I don't know, about just over 1K before, just not long ago, a few years ago. 3K now.
I just wish it didn't get stuck, because now it's off to be repaired and I would have loved to shoot more for this video. I adore this lens that much. The 55mm FD 1.2 S.S.C Aspherical is really unique because it uses vintage optics, radioactive. It's contrasty but still has some of that charm of older lenses that works so well for people shots. It just has the right balance of everything. It is pretty much perfect for a fast 50. And it's 50 years old.
Here we are again. We're going to fly some drones, fly some FPVs. That went well, didn't it? Does that pick up really bad?
It's good.
We're back to the wind like this. The wind block.
The best wind block.
Is that a really big chair? I'm not going to take photos of it. I just want to see it. Just curious what they built on our test track.
Who did this?
I know. It's vandalism. People, honestly, these days.
Feel like
I'm not a midget.
You feel like a kid again?
I do feel like a kid again. Anyway, we're not here to talk about a bench. We're here to talk about this beauty. We are at the Super Boca Bros test track. Don't know why the kids all here. God, kids these days just break into anywhere. We pay rent. Wow, so full of weeds, this place. It's trouble gardeners can never find one. Does a good job.
There's an old guy over here.
Dan.
Dan's not old.
No, he's not old. I was just asking. I wouldn't diss him. Respect.
Respect old people.
You said again?
What?
You said he's old again.
No, you
no.
implying it.
No way. You don't see many people keeping tilty flippy screen out while using the EVF. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to set a trend. If you, I think you just put a bag of shit over there. Looks like a bag of shit.